This is a glimpse into my life. Life with Eric.
Eric's here.
And I'm Kiley.
And I'm Eric.
Okay, I think we know who you are.
Oh.
Okay, honey.
Yeah.
This is the most dramatic episode of Life with Eric ever.
I've been waiting for this episode for 4 years that we've been doing this podcast. I've been waiting for this episode. We have a very special guest today.
Yes.
And his name is Guy, who is on the Golden Bachelorette. He was the runner-up. Welcome, Guy.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I guess I got a serious question to ask you.
Oh,
right
off
You
the
told
bat.
me not to be serious. You told me not to be jokey, so now I'm going to be serious.
I did not tell you that.
A serious question. Bring it on.
Okay. How are you feeling, and how is your heart since the breakup with Joan and now?
Okay, we're just
I
jumping
know,
right
jumping
into it.
right in.
Right into
No,
it.
that was my plan. We're jumping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, the first thing you have to remember is that the breakup with Joan was several months ago.
That's what I was going to say. How long ago was it really?
Yeah, it was about the beginning of August.
Okay.
So what I will say is that, you know, after the breakup and then when I got home, I was pretty devastated. You know, kind of sequestered myself, just trying to assimilate all. I was emotionally exhausted from the 6.5 weeks, right?
Yeah,
And so,
I bet.
anyway, but you know, since that time, you know, I've had time to think, to reflect, go back on it. I knew what happened, but now I was able to then watch the show, each episode, and each episode gave me more insight as to what was happening. Because, you know, when you're doing it, you don't know what the other men are doing. You don't know their MO.
You guys don't talk about it?
Interestingly enough, no.
Oh. Well, I mean, I guess I wouldn't either.
No, I think the women do.
Well, probably. We're gossips.
But they, you know, I never talked to the other, at least I didn't ask the other guys,
What'd you do
hey,
last
how
night?
do you feel about Joan?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What'd you guys do?
Because you
Tell us the
kind of
details.
know.
I think naturally guys are a little bit competitive inside and won't
So you
show
don't
it.
wanna
So won't show
know,
it
yeah.
much outside. So I think you wouldn't talk about it. I
Yeah.
would think so.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of discussion regarding that. So then, you know, watching the show and then seeing it, you know, I gathered, you know, more insight. So what I will say was that last week was the final, it was a live finale.
Yeah.
And if you saw it,
I did see
We
it.
did.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Every episode I watched of the Golden Bachelorette, including that finale that you're on, I cry every
He
time.
did.
I shed a tear
I did
every
not,
single time.
but he
I think it's
does.
just a guy thing. When a guy sees another guy cry, he just starts
Is
going.
that it?
No, I don't know. I cry when I watch a movie on airplanes too, so I don't know.
Okay.
Do you ever cry when you watch a movie on an airplane?
I cry at Disney movies. You
Oh,
know?
okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, I wear my emotions on my
That's
sleeve.
not a bad
So
thing.
Yeah.
you know, maybe a little too much estrogen. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was
No.
great though because I love that about all the guys, especially. I mean, I know we're going to circle back to the question I asked
Yeah.
you, but when they showed that video of all your guys' kids,
Yes.
I was
That
dying.
was
Yes.
sweet.
I was dying. I was like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. And then I finished the episode and I'm like, that was the best episode TV I ever seen. I love that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm a feminine guy. I don't know, but
Feminine?
feminine kind of guy. But what about you? Did you find yourself crying a lot?
You know, it's interesting that you say that. And if you watch the show, you will see that, yes, I do get emotional
That's
quite
all
a
right.
bit.
I think it's cute.
including that opening night where they focused in on me. And I will tell you that.
I can't recall. I'm trying to think of the
I know the
opening night.
opening
I'll
night.
tell you what happened. Yeah, just to remind you. But one of the things before I went on the show was I made a commitment to myself
Ooh.
that I was going to do two things. I wasn't going to cry, and I wasn't going to say the L word.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So that went really well for you.
For 2.
Well,
for 2.
Let's just say
2.
over 2.
That's
and the first
okay.
one went out the window the first episode. So you talked about, you know, the having each of the men see one of their kids typically, you know, talk to them before we went into the rose ceremony. Oh,
Yeah.
I was riding on about 3 hours sleep
Oh
and
my God, that's
48
horrible.
hours. So you watch this and
Oh.
here's my oldest daughter, Mackenzie, on there, and she's saying, hi, Dad, you know,
Oh.
wish you good luck. You know, we love you, and we hope you enjoy this journey. And
I'm not right now.
so you get very, very emotional. And
Yeah.
you've watched all these other guys and their kids. So every
You know
single
your kid's coming up next or whatever.
you
know.
didn't
Yeah.
know when they. I
Right.
didn't know which
Which
child
kid,
was going
yeah.
to go. Was going
Yeah.
to be there. And so,
That was great. That was good television.
so let me tell you, it was every single guy
It's just
broke down,
done.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So they had already they weakened us,
Oh,
right?
yeah, they did.
Yeah, they definitely weakened you. That's a good
And
way to
then-
put it.
That is.
Yeah. And then what happened, for that first rose ceremony, then they put us into the rose room, and there's 24 of us and 18 were going to get roses.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to get the fourth rose.
Ooh.
Yeah, I remember you getting it
So
early.
pretty
remember
early
early
on,
on you, but
right?
yeah.
So I then had lots of time to reflect.
I got a question, and I was going to get to this way later in the podcast, but when Joan comes up, right, and then she's announcing the roses, does she have an earpiece in her ear to
How
get
does
the
she
names
remember
right?
everybody's name?
Or is there a sticker on the table or
No,
something?
no,
Anyway, we'll get back to all that good stuff. But anyway, so you're heartbroken after you get broken up with Joan, and then you come back home.
Reflecting.
You come back home.
yeah.
And-
Let me just finish up what happened
ahead.
that first night, just
Yep.
so I can just
Go ahead.
finalize that.
Yep.
So
Go ahead.
so I had a lot of time to reflect, and then what happened was, as we're getting near the end, I realized that there was some of the guys were going home that I had already developed a little relationship with.
Because
even
you
though it
spent
was
2
first-
days with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and one guy in particular, and I realized he's not getting picked. So I had this culmination of being emotional, seeing my daughter. When I got the rose, I had this overwhelming feeling of acceptance
That makes sense.
and validation, and
Like it became real.
yeah,
Like, oh, she
yeah,
like
Like she
I
likes
got
me.
picked. Yeah.
and I'm a good person.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and then also you're like, and I got
And
picked
you're like,
fourth.
I probably look pretty good because she picked me basically off of looks. Just saying.
Well, probably.
Actually, it was probably off of smell if you watched the
Oh.
first one, because I
You're
did
the one with the cologne.
cologne. Yeah,
Oh,
Remember- do
see,
you
I
remember
no,
that?
I do not remember that.
I do remember that.
yeah.
What kind of cologne do you wear, by the way?
He does need a new
Um,
one.
Because I need a new
They
cologne.
discontinued his, so he's on the market.
I didn't smell you when you came in, but I just wondered what kind of cologne you wear.
I'll let you know.
You
I
let
don't
me
know
know
if I
off
can
the
dis-
air.
Off the
Off
air.
the air.
I'll disclose it to you.
What if you
because-
tell me that millions of people start buying this cologne?
Right, That's
Exactly,
right.
yeah.
He wants to be.
You need the
Yeah,
royalties.
Yeah.
If we're gonna raise their sales up, I want
Right.
a little
Yes.
something for the effort.
Right, right.
You know.
But you had different. Yeah. Don't you remember he got out of the limo? You can tell it. You got
Yeah.
out of the limo.
Got out of the limo. I had 2 colognes, sprayed one on each wrist, had her
No.
smell it. You don't really see all this.
Right. Well, I'm not great at like
Yeah,
retaining.
yeah. And then you
random
really
stuff.
got to pay attention. Then
I
And then
don't.
I had her smell it. And which
you were
one did
early
she
on.
like? About halfway.
Yeah, halfway.
And so she said, I like this one. So that was
Yep.
the one it was actually the one I actually wore. Going back to the finale, or the first rose ceremony. So there was a combination of seeing my daughter, getting the rose, feeling emotional regarding that, and then realizing that somebody was going to leave that I was
That you were
close to.
making a bond with.
I'm standing there, and
Like,
all of a sudden I started getting emotional,
Oh no.
and I could feel it. I could feel my
Yeah.
eyes welting up,
You
and
got to
then
feel that tingle coming up in
oh
your
yeah,
face and
and
everything.
I was like, okay, guy, and I've raised. There's 24 of us in there. I said, okay, and I never really saw the cameras.
That's good.
I
guess.
had
Yeah.
this ability to be able to block
That's awesome,
them out.
actually.
Man, you should be an actor.
But
Maybe he will now.
so anyway, so I'm standing there and I'm going, okay, guy, whatever you do, don't bring
Don't
attention
do
to
it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you reach up and wipe your
You're
eye,
like-
they're gonna know.
You're like,
right?
oh, and they're gonna zoom in on you. Yeah.
Yes. So I sat there and I just opened my eyes as wide as I could. I blink, trying to get it to
Something
stop.
there.
And then it got worse.
Oh,
The
no.
emotions got worse, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh crap!" And all of
Coming.
a sudden
Oh no.
You know the director saw you way before you started crying. They saw you. They go, okay, here he
they
comes.
did.
He's
And
coming.
and they did.
Waterworks.
So then what happened was, I was hoping, guy, don't reach up because
Oh,
that'll
no.
bring
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
Hoping they wouldn't have picked it up because there's 24 guys.
Right,
I'm going, how are they
they're-
going to pick this up?
Get
But-
the nervous guy over there.
well, at the end of the rose ceremony, Jesse Palmer
Yeah.
was asking questions. He goes, "Guy, so we noticed you got somewhat emotional during that rose ceremony," and I go, "Doggone it, Jesse!
got
I
me.
was so
Jesse.
hoping you didn't see that." Then I wasn't sure they actually put it on TV, and then it was like the very focus of
It's
me.
television gold.
Did they put it on?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
It
Why do
was-
I not remember the first episode?
It's the very end rose ceremony.
Dang
You'll
it.
just see me, and they're just panned on me the whole time, and
Yeah.
you see the whole thing, and
Well, I loved it.
so there
America
we go.
probably loved
So
it.
that was so of the 2 things I wasn't going to do,
You did it.
I did it the first night.
Yeah, first night. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all right.
That's great. And so let's go back to my original question.
Yes.
Was,
I don't remember what it
how are you
was.
doing now?
Oh,
I'll tell you, I'm doing great. I am absolutely doing great. I had time to assimilate it. I was able to go down and do the live. I was not near as nervous as I thought I would be.
Oh, cool.
well, that's good.
Yeah, I'd spent a lot of time really self-reflecting. One of the things I did on the show when I went down there is I made this commitment. I made a commitment to physical, nutritional, emotional, and spiritual excellence. And my daughter sent me a journal. I said, Dad, you've never journaled
it's
before.
time.
You should consider
this,
doing
yeah.
this. So I journaled for 45 days.
Did you
Nice.
enjoy doing that?
Yes,
I
it was
probably was
therapeutic.
through that experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to remember, each day and the details, but it also gave me time to self-reflect about my past, my life,
Oh.
my separation, my
at you,
divorce,
yeah.
my children, all
Right.
these, milestones. And so it was very therapeutic for me. It's one of the things I did. So
That's
Cool. I
awesome.
like that.
Yeah.
To take that experience and become
Yeah.
a better person out of it.
And one of the so when I say that I'm doing well now, that is when it first came back, I was struggling, right?
Right.
Because
Were you heartbroken?
yes,
I mean, yeah.
yeah, and I know it sounds kind of crazy.
Well, it's funny because you got all these older guys, and everybody gets broken up with or gets divorced or whatever when you're younger, and I've been through all this kind of stuff too. Does it feel the same as when you're younger or worse?
Oh, I would think worse.
Here's
my opinion.
here's what I'm going to say. Is that you have to understand why you're on the show. You are isolated. You don't see your phone for 6.5 weeks. You don't see.
Oh,
your
you
phone
don't
for over a month.
Get like any
There's
contact.
nothing. You have
Oh, okay.
you have yourself, the other men, discussions with them, which were part of your therapy,
And your producers.
and you have the prize, and that
Right.
prize being Joan,
Yeah.
and that's what you're focused on. And so I was very guarded. I thought there was no way
I'm not. Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I had watched 9 episodes of the Golden Bachelor, and I said, "This is the silliest thing I've ever seen. There's no way you can fall in love in this
I've
short
always
period of
said
time."
that
But when you get isolated like
when
that,
they put you in like
and-
that situation, it's the
and
perfect storm.
and it's an intense amount of time, and everything is focused on one thing. That's all you're thinking about for a month and a half. It's kind of a little. I don't want to say a psychological manipulation,
kind
but
of though.
you do. And
But is the pain the same?
well, I can tell you. For me,
I'm curious.
I
Actually.
know.
Yeah.
no, one of the things that I refer to, that I have this transformational journey. I refer to it all the time on my Instagram posts and things.
Mhm.
And the first thing that I learned, and I won't go through all 5 right now, but the first thing I learned was I learned to love myself again.
Oh, I mean that's awesome.
Yeah. The second
You-
thing,
Yeah.
the second thing,
I can't go get. I need a box of Kleenex out here.
Right.
You're gonna make me
I
cry
mean,
right now,
I can see
guy.
that because then
That was nice.
any breakups in our point, you do kind of like, what did I do wrong? Is it me? Like,
yeah.
Oh, nice. I got it.
The other thing that I learned is that I learned that I could have that true passionate love again, which I
Nice.
didn't
You
think
found
was
hope
really
again.
possible.
Yeah.
That emotional sensation you
Yeah.
had when you're 25 years old.
right.
That intense feeling, of not being able to get enough of the other person.
Were you giddy like a young teenage boy?
Pretty
in a
close.
way, in a way,
Pretty
yeah.
close, yeah.
That's
Eventually,
cool.
because I just kept, each rose ceremony, it was more validating. So I got happier and happier and happier. And
Closer to the prize, right?
yeah, and the one variable that I would always think about that was different was Joan. She was the constant in all those variables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think I attributed, that happiness to her, which it really was. And so I'd really fallen for her.
Yeah. Do you know what fascinated me on the Golden Bachelor? I watched the Golden Bachelor and the Golden Bachelorette, but I was more obsessed because of all the guys and just how they felt and everything. And I'm a guy or whatever.
Right.
But how everybody said the same thing. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I don't want to put myself out there. I'm scared.
Right.
Everybody
do you
kept
want to go
saying there's-
date again?
What's that?
Do you want to go date it again?
Yeah. Okay.
right. No, that's a hard no. Yeah. So,
But everybody you think you're older and you're been
Wiser
through
and
so
you're
much
it's
and you're
fine.
not you wouldn't be
Unfazed.
scared anymore. But they're as opposite.
Yeah.
well, yeah, you can still get hurt.
Yeah. I was not nervous. I wasn't scared about the whole I
'Cause
just
you didn't think anything was going to really happen.
I thought nothing was going to happen.
like,
But
I'm not
scared
gonna-
once
I-
you've had feelings.
It'll be fun.
well, then it took time for me to break down those barriers because I told myself I was
not,
guarded. I was skeptical. I said, "This is silliness. You can't. This can't happen." And eventually, for multiple reasons, I let those barriers down. And so then the emotions I felt at the end, that you see, those were real emotions.
Oh yeah.
I will say, people will say to me, "Well, did you really fall in love with Joan?" And I say, at that time, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I said, but looking at it from a bird's eye view, months later and trying to think about it, I think more than anything, I fell in love with the idea of falling in love.
That makes sense.
Well, you're forced to because that's all you. If
That's- yeah,
6 weeks of that's your focus.
That's
You're
it.
not thinking about work. You're not thinking about. You might be thinking about your family, but you're not involved in
Yeah.
daily activities
Right.
or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I totally
Yeah.
understand that because people always say, "How can you fall in love?"
always say that.
But if you're in a room with somebody, if
that's
you're in a
all
room with
you're-
somebody for
yeah.
3 days straight, just say an example,
Laser
and
focus,
you're
that's
attracted
it,
to each
yeah.
other, you're gonna you could probably fall in love in 3 days or 2 days or whatever. You don't even know, let alone
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
And go to all these glamorous
Right.
dates
You'd have
and-
fun dates.
and whatnot.
Yeah. Get to go to some exotic
Yeah.
locations.
Right.
Bora Bora was not so bad.
That was
Yeah.
amazing. That was the
Worst
greatest
date
location.
ever.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's number one on my bucket list places to go. So
And
it's
that's
like,
where you went.
Yeah, you're
That's
like,
where we went.
man,
I thought they were doing it for me.
Well,
Oh, you're like, for me?
I don't even know if we have a bucket list, but we said we got to go there.
Right.
We got to
I
go
have
there.
a
and
bucket list.
Check it out.
It is as spectacular
Is
as it looks,
It looks-
in the pictures and the videos.
Oh,
that
I
you
mean,
see.
it looks so great.
It
It almost
does.
looks fake.
It
The water looks
does.
fake. Everything looks
It is.
fake.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Going back to where you're at now,
Yeah.
and Thanksgiving's coming up. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I am flying down to Atlanta. My oldest daughter, Mackenzie, my son-in-law, Madi, my grandson, Idan, are in Atlanta, and I'm flying there. And one of my other boys, I have 4 kids. He's going to be there also, so I'm going to be spending Thanksgiving with them.
Nice.
That's great. That's good.
Yeah.
Anybody special going with you, or are you still
Oh.
single?
Yeah, no, I'm single. I'm
Yeah.
single. Yeah.
Since you're going with the
takes a little
single, are
while.
you vying for the next Golden Bachelor?
Say that again.
Are you vying for the next Golden Bachelor slot?
And it's an interesting.
You should
When
do
I-
it if you get
When
it.
I first came back, people asked me that question,
You're like, no.
and the answer is no.
I could see, I would,
way.
yeah.
No way. I was so emotionally drained. There was
Yeah.
no way. As time went by, I was
Maybe.
more open to the idea because I actually believed that even though it seems kind of hokey that you can fall in love, it's just, this is probably as good as doing it organically or
Right.
doing online dating and stuff. So I was open to the idea. I've subsequently, I'm not 100% sure because now that the finale's happened, I've watched Joan and I've watched Chuck, and the scrutiny that they're under.
Oh.
It's
David followed
it
that
can be
much.
pretty intense and
that's-
pretty exhausting. And I have to decide,
Is that worth it or not?
yeah, I mean, if you're a young 25-year-old, you're going to go with that.
oh,
But
yeah.
I've had a career. I had 35 years in emergency medicine. I just recently retired. That was part of my transformational journey.
Yeah. I'm like,
so-
it's a lot of actual transformation journey there.
But I have to admit that it is enticing and it's flattering. To get
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
To get
Well, to
that.
have 25 women that are like, hey, guy.
Right.
Right. How often does that happen?
Well, there's all sorts of things.
Because the
They're
girls that be going on the girls that would be going on the show have already seen you, and
Right.
they've expressed their interest in you already
Yeah.
before the show even started.
And the idea, you would hope that the show has already done the filtering,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
That you
Yeah.
typically see with online dating. Your filters like age appropriate,
Yes.
healthy lifestyle,
Like, yes.
energetic, those type of things. So
How did they vet you when the casting came around?
I have a quick question before you answer that. Did you submit yourself?
No, about halfway through, because I didn't think I was going to get chosen.
Right. That's.
I don't know why. I just didn't.
I
think
wouldn't have thought that either. Like,
no
no
one,
think of me.
no one would.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would really think that they would
Yeah,
be chosen.
you know.
Like I
Especially
said,
you didn't like ask for it.
Yeah, and I was just going through
Like,
because my
okay.
nephew said,
Yeah.
"Hey, he
Do
goes,
it.
he said, Uncle Guy, he goes, just do it." And he goes, "If you get chosen, you can always put that in your back pocket, even if you don't do it."
Which you can. You can now.
yeah.
Yeah. So
well, it's going to be interesting and also flattering.
yes, very
Yeah.
much,
Oh,
very much.
yeah.
So to keep kind of, it's like,
Yeah, a little
I'm
ego
going to another
boost.
one.
Yeah.
I'm going to another one.
Like me.
And then so but I finally watched the Golden Bachelor, and that's when I watched 4 episodes, and I said, this is the silliest thing I've ever seen. I said, there's no way I'm doing it.
Right.
I said,
And then they picked you.
how can anybody fall in love after 2 weeks?
Right.
You know,
They say the same thing every season.
and so but I subsequently kept going, and different things happened in my life, and I finally said, you know what? They called
let's
me.
do it.
They called me. They said, yeah, hey, you've been chosen. I said, great. And about a week later, I said, you know what? I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
I don't blame you. It's great. I mean, I think
I took
has it
off.
been great? It's been good for you, huh?
It's been
I mean,
great.
oh, you said it's life transformation. Yeah.
Transformational.
Yeah.
It really has. I didn't want to use that lightly,
Yeah.
because, but and it wasn't just the show that was transformational. It was a culmination of many things in my life over the last 10 months. I mean, retirement was one of those in September, developing a better relationship with my kids, some other things that happened in my life, and I was getting happier and happier. And then when I go on the show, you start getting this validation. You start feeling good. Every time you get a rose, you feel special.
Like I am,
Yeah.
like,
Feeling,
yeah.
like, okay, this is
just
good,
some
so,
guy.
and then it allowed me to break through, as I said earlier, to love myself again, and to be able to know that I could truly love again.
Yes.
And so I've won. When
Yeah.
people say,
Hey, you
"Did
won no
you
matter
win?"
what, yeah.
I go,
You personally won.
And,
I won.
and one of the things, so you fell in love with Joan for the short amount of time, quick time, and everything,
Sure.
and you opened up about it and everything else too. Is that something? Does she have a lot of qualities that you're looking for in your next partner? Let's say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I would think that they would put people like.
Well, I mean, you learned all about her and what she stands for and what she is, and you really like that.
Exactly. And the one thing about Joan was that I didn't know much about her, other than they said, hey, we're going to do the big reveal. And when I had watched those 4 episodes, I had seen Joan. She left the show early
Yeah.
because her daughter had gotten some
Like just had a
postpartum
baby, I think.
and some postpartum depression.
She
and-
might have won the whole thing.
I thought she was going to.
The guy Gary was pretty torn up.
I really
So
liked
she
her
would've won
from
the whole
there.
thing
I
anyway.
thought she was too, and I was like, no, she's leaving. I like her.
And so when I saw that that family was so important to her, that really resonated
Yeah.
with me, because I'm the youngest of 8 kids.
Oh,
I've got
man,
4
yeah.
I got 4 of my own kids
Yeah.
that are just rock stars, and so she's an attractive woman. And
She is.
when they announced that she was going to be it, I was like, okay. But the only thing I knew about her, I knew her name, I knew her age, I knew that her husband had passed away from pancreatic cancer, and she was from Maryland. Nothing more. I didn't go
man.
online. I didn't
Oh,
try
you
to.
didn't
No.
Google search her?
I knew nothing else. I
That's
said, you know
probably
what?
best.
I'm just going to just go, and we're just going to do this, I don't know, organically
Organically, yeah.
or whatever
I
you want to call
wonder
it.
if one of the things that she liked about you so much was the fact that you were one of 8 kids. Because I heard an interview with her a couple weeks ago, actually, and she said her whole life she only had her and her brother, and she wanted a big family.
Didn't she have like
and
4
she wanted,
kids
and-
too? Or
Yeah,
doesn't
she did, and she's a big entertainer and has everybody over to her house.
Yes.
And so, was that something you guys had talked about, that you had 8 siblings? Was she attracted to that?
Yes, very much so.
Family. Yeah.
And on the hometown visit, she actually got to, all my kids, except for my daughter that lives in London, all came in. My 3 sisters from Texas
Yeah.
came in, 2
Oh, okay.
brothers in Reno.
Yeah.
So of the 8 kids, she got to meet 6 of the 8.
Wow.
And then she got to meet virtually. And so she fell in love with my sisters and my family. And, she saw that, the kind of support. And she loved the idea, the concept of big family, especially one that's as tight as we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, that was
I think so.
very
Because
important.
I noticed when just on the interview that I listened to, that she was talking a lot about that, a lot, and so that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Hey, let's Chalk.
Okay.
And I'm sure you retain friendships and you're friends with Chalk or whatnot.
Maybe.
But what I got, and I don't know if this was the edit in the show,
Probably.
or
but
it was it was down to you two, and I sensed that he was a little bit more competitive or more jealous of you, and I sensed that you weren't of him. Is anything true with that?
I retrospectively watching the show,
Yeah.
what I can say is, first of all, Chuck was one of my roommates.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So-
So he seems a nice guy.
He's great. He's a great
everybody
guy.
was a nice guy there. It was
Very,
crazy.
very, very nice guy. Very nice guy. And my other roommates, just FYI, was Charles L.
Oh, I love that guy.
Wait, is that the Asian
That's
one?
the Asian guy,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm
Yep.
horrible with names.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
also Gary.
I
Yeah.
like Gary.
He got the
He was
wild.
a hoot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we became so close.
Everybody was so nice. They were trying to make somebody a villain. They
They
couldn't
could
do it.
not.
They absolutely could. They were trying to make the captain a villain for a short
tried
time,
for
and they
a-
couldn't do it. He
Yeah.
was too nice.
Yeah, and I was the only one who stood up and
I
sang
did the
with
song.
him.
Yep.
I know. That was very nice of you because everybody was
We
like,
are the Mansion Men.
Oh, that's
How
it,
do you
yeah.
say the Mansion Men? We're
Yeah,
here
that-
to steal the heart of Joan.
that was great.
Very
It's
nice.
funny when he first did that. When I was as a viewer, I'm kind of irritated, just like the guys kind of were. And then when they had the finale or whatever,
Oh
they,
my God,
also-
like
they brought
everyone's-
they brought the
choir,
choir
yeah.
in there. It was great.
It was, yeah.
That was
to
classic.
go back to your original question
Chuck.
about Chuck, is he's a really, really good man. And we were roommates, so we had time that we spoke to each other on a one-on-one basis.
You know what we called him at home watching?
Oh my God, I know.
Peyton Manning. We always called him.
Oh, everybody's.
Oh,
you know,
it
he
was
does.
just
He
I
does.
thought we were the only ones.
And
I'm like,
I don't
this
lip
guy's
sync people because I
Manning.
can't remember names.
Everybody says, you know,
Okay,
he's got
okay.
this, you know, and
It's got the
Sorry.
voice. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
yeah. So as I watched the show in retrospect, and it was very clear, even while we were there, that you know he was full gas with Joan right from
okay.
the beginning.
Full court press.
Full court press, and you know, which is good. I mean, that's what he wanted. He knew what he wanted, and he was
He didn't wanna
going
let her
for
go.
it. So I commend him for that. You know, I, on the other hand, as I mentioned before, I was guarded. I was skeptical. I was like, laying back a little bit more, you know, just like, let me just see how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
I even said to myself, you know, if I'm not feeling it, I want to try to subsequently bail out, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just kind of kept going, and, you know, and I'm glad I did, because, you know, I did develop, you know, emotions and feelings and experiences. So, you know, I think, and now this is just me watching the show. Yeah, I think that Chuck, you know, did see it was a little more competitive, and he even says that, you know, I've got, you know, other people. You know, there's Pascal and there's Guy, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I on
It
the
was
other,
really bugging him.
you know,
Did it bug you at all?
not at all.
No, you were
I
like, okay,
never,
I'm here for
honest God, I never.
I'm here for her. Whatever she decides, I'm good with.
That's exactly.
Okay,
I
yeah.
just
That's what we from viewing. That's what
I
I
just-
got.
Yeah.
that's for me. It was I was trying to determine, is Joan my person, and am I Joan's person? And if that's the way it is, then great. Could we see ourselves having a long-term relationship? And that's the question I was trying to answer. I was not trying to say, how do
gonna
I
beat you.
how do I win
Yeah.
this thing?
Yeah.
You know. And I'm not saying that Chuck was doing that, because I think he had
Good intentions.
and has real emotions for Joan.
Yeah.
I mean,
They just
you know,
kinda
they're-
edited him that
yeah.
way.
So he's, you know, he and they're engaged, and they're
They're
seem
still
to be
together.
really doing well together. So, you know,
See what happens.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I wish them all the best. I really do. I don't hold any animosity
You always be friends
toward
with
Joan.
them.
Oh
and-
my
yeah.
gosh. I hope forever.
Yeah,
You know,
that'd be great.
Do you still, are you in contact with anybody still from the season?
yeah, we're allowed to, you know, we weren't
Now you're allowed to talk.
once the show ended, but before then I was
You
not
can't,
supposed
you're like not a.
You're not, yeah. So I've had conversations with some of the other guys that I
Yeah.
was close with, and still planning on, like, okay, I'm going to give you a call. We're going to, you know, we're
We'll
going
get
to
it
You have a little
together, yeah.
fraternity, you know. That's
Oh,
pretty
very
cool.
much
That's
so.
pretty nice.
Very
to have.
much
It's
so.
like living in the mansion like that, because you have roommates again. When's the last time you had a roommate?
Yeah.
Yes,
I think I know.
Yes, you're sharing a itty bitty little bathroom
Why
with
did-
5 men.
Do they really have bunk beds? Is that true?
Oh yeah,
Oh God.
oh yeah.
What? They had to do bunk beds
Right.
for older grown men.
I know, right.
That was
I mean, it looked like everybody kind of enjoyed it for a little
For like
while.
a night.
no,
Yeah.
it was fine.
Yeah, okay.
it was good. There was some conflict, you know, but it was all in good fun.
That's great. Hey, Kylie.
Eric.
Oh, I screwed up already. Look at.
Right.
I wonder if these guys would have any fun.
This segment of Life with Eric is brought to you by
430 National,
Great American Storage
America,
and Reno Yard.
for all your outdoor storage needs. That's us, by the way.
Okay.
Talking.
You couldn't tell.
You know what I really found fascinating was we needed the hometown date,
Yes.
and because I'm from Tahoe, and familiar with the Hyatt that you went to
Yeah.
dinner at, and you're on the boat. We talked a little about this before the podcast started. The most thing that fascinates me about the
What?
this is odd. This
Well,
is very
do
odd.
I know this?
No.
Okay.
Well, you might. You came out of your house and you sat with Joan on this bench.
Yeah.
And before you got in the car, did they place that bench there?
Yes.
Because I noticed that everything in the Golden Bachelorette, there's a bench everywhere.
They
Like
just
you
got a
just
lot
see
of
a
benches.
bench with a bottle of champagne.
Oh,
a
yeah.
bench every home down there. So
Yeah.
they
Charcuterie board.
Was that your bench or they bring the bench?
They brought that bench.
I
Sorry.
swear.
But I had my
knew
own
it.
bench.
Yeah.
I had
knew
my
it.
own bench in the backyard.
Right.
They didn't want to use it though.
I kept
No.
telling her. I
Ah.
kept saying,
They
I know
couldn't-
they're bringing the bench.
Yeah.
They carry it
They
around. with
brought
them.
Even
the
some
bench.
of my personal artwork
Oh,
in
they
my
like
house.
changed it out.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff?
they pull it out and they
Oh,
just
cool.
put generic stuff in.
Yeah, because they
I guess some stuff if they can't like show.
or either liability
Yeah.
or it's union stuff, or whatever.
You can't show logos. You can't see
Yeah.
anything. It's so
That's wild.
yeah.
But the hometown date,
Yes.
it went real well. Obviously, it played well on TV. Did it go as well as?
Yes. For me, that was the change
Ah.
for me in how I was feeling. I felt like that hometown date
That's,
went so well, and I anticipated it going well. I remember when the four of us, were chosen
Yeah.
for the hometowns. I looked at the other gentleman and I said, "I hate to tell you this, guys, but I got hometown advantage." And two of the guys are from Chicago, and like, "What do you
"No, you
mean? What are you
don't."
going to do?" And
That's
I said,
oh yeah.
"Yeah." I said, "What are you going to do?" I said, I said, "Watch the show."
We'll just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And subsequently the day went perfect. I mean, Tahoe was glass that
It's
morning.
beautiful.
Which is-
It was
yeah.
not.
What month were you there? Or what
July.
date? This is a great.
I
This is a
mean-
great
He's like,
date.
I
This
know.
is scored.
It's glass.
Yeah.
That's-
There's not a
oh.
cloud in the sky. There's
Perfect
no
day,
wind.
yeah.
It was a perfect temperature.
Had you ever been there before?
Had she?
Yeah.
She had never seen it.
Oh.
And she
Oh,
was.
it's about
In
floored.
awe.
That's great.
Everybody remembers the first time they come over,
Oh my
let's say if they come from Reno, over Mount Rose Highway,
yeah.
and they see
She's
Tahoe,
like,
Like,
and
oh.
their jaw drops.
Yeah.
And that's how she was. She says, "I've got to come back here with my kids. I can't leave this place." And I said, and
It's my
I've
backyard.
been
Yeah.
here since '77, so I shared lots and lots of stories with her about memories that I have,
Mhm.
about Tahoe and
Mhm.
different areas and things that we did. And then I told her the story of Tahoe Tessie. And,
yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
How deep it is, and third
Yeah.
deepest lake in the world, all that
and
good stuff. Yeah,
72 miles around and
Yeah.
all the
yeah. If I were on that show, that's what I'm going to
Oh,
do too, Keeks.
Are you going on
yeah,
that show?
yeah. I'll tell them all my
It was-
Tahoe stuff and everything.
yeah,
That'd be great.
yeah. And so that was wonderful. And then we were at right there at the
Lone Eagle.
yep. And then from there, then we back down to my house.
Did they let you travel down together?
No.
Oh.
No, to and
She
from.
went with she went with
Rude.
production.
What's that?
She went with production, or
Yeah,
or
she
glam-
comes up in a
glam
different,
team, whatever.
In a different, yeah.
different, and I come up. Then we meet.
Do they
we
let
do
you
our-
drive up and down yourself or no?
No,
Okay.
you're up in.
You're like, we don't trust you.
It's kind of fun. This is when you get to feel like a celebrity because you're driving around in black SUVs
gonna
with
say.
tinted windows the whole time.
Yeah. Was everybody looking
Okay.
at you at the Hyatt when you were there?
Probably.
Yes.
Were they like, oh
Yeah.
my God?
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody's like,
there's people were like, and you could see people, snapping pictures and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But they weren't really sure what we were
Why?
doing.
They're like, who is this and
Something
why? Yeah.
people figured out. Some people thought we were thought I was some politician, doing
Oh, I
commercials.
could kinda
Right,
see
yeah,
that,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
anyway,
cool. That's a good experience.
yeah. So
Awesome.
the hometown, the Tahoe was perfect. She got to meet my kids. She fell in love with my kids, my sisters. She got to see that my kids are rock stars, and so
That's cool.
she was. I thought
That make you feel so good.
so good.
Oh, yeah.
I at the end of that, I thought I was. That's when I thought I was the guy.
Yeah.
I said, "This is it.
You want
This
to know
is
what's
mine."
funny? Is I said that
She
about
picked
you,
you. She
and
said-
he said, no, she's not picking him. And I said, yes,
no, I
she
didn't.
is.
No, I didn't.
It's okay.
No. Well, then we figured out why, because I was like, no. I go, because he's like, her body language is showing. No, I'm like, no. I'm like,
Yeah,
he
she
makes her
called it.
nervous. He makes her feel stuff, and he's making her uncomfortable feeling those feelings. And he's like, she's not picking him.
I was
He was
still
right.
rooting for you though. Don't say that, Kylie.
No, that's
Hey.
that's.
We
We're
watch
honest
we watch
here.
the show like it's a game show.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people
really.
who, when they watch it, they just said, they saw, especially if you watch a show, they said she seems to have more connection with Chuck right from the beginning,
Well, I think they edit
But
it that way too.
It's slowly, I think that the barrier started to
I
break
think so too.
down.
I'm like, no,
Well,
she's
even in the finale, some of
Yeah.
the stuff she said to me, made me, wonder.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going on their side.
Exactly.
As a fan watching the show, this is what I always wonder. Everybody's from different states: Chicago,
Yeah.
Reno, Kansas, maybe, or something like that. And she's from Virginia, I think, or
Maryland.
Washington, Maryland. And so, how do they expect these people to make it work
Yeah.
I
without being from
know.
the same state? Shouldn't they cast from?
I know.
If she's from Maryland, shouldn't they cast everybody from Maryland? And there's enough pool of guys, I would think,
Yeah.
but I guess not.
It probably would work out a little bit better. I can tell you from my perspective, when we had our overnight
I
date,
was going to ask you this. I think you're going where I'm going.
and and the overnight was really just time
Without a camera in your
alone,
face.
without a camera or audio.
Yeah.
And that's when I utilized that time to talk about
Serious combos.
serious issues. Can we make this work?
Yeah, which is good. That's
like-
good.
Because I told her, I said, I said, you ask me anything you want to know about me. I'm an open book. I said,
Yeah.
you don't need any surprises 6 months down the road.
Right.
And then I even
Nor do
talked
you.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I even talked about logistics, at least for
Which
me.
is smart. Yeah.
I just said, I can say that I just retired. And none of my children live in Reno. So I was flexible in
Which you-
potentially relocating. But I also said, I said, we don't necessarily need to pick one place. Why can't we have a place in Maryland, a place in Reno, Tahoe?
Yeah.
And, kind of move
Snowbirds.
back and
Yeah.
forth and just kind of see how that goes. I was open to any kind of, relationship, whether it's a committed long-term relationship to start with.
Which, makes sense. Because you
Get engaged. I mean, that's kind of a committed long-term relationship.
I kind of look at The
wasn't-
Bachelor, all of them, as the engagement is okay, we're going to date now.
Yeah. But
Seriously.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the engagement is one step too far to be reality.
It's like a
Well,
promise ring in my
Yeah, it's
head.
almost like
Yeah.
a promise. It's like a promise ring. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
but
But it makes for good TV.
but with her, I wanted to talk about how can we meld our lives.
That's
That's what you have to
yeah.
do at this
Mhm.
state or stage of
Yeah.
your
because you're
life,
blending
right?
two families. And,
blending families,
Grandkids.
Traditions,
locations,
yeah.
grandkids. There's
There's a
so
lot of
many,
history you're
so many
blending.
variables you got to figure out, and there's challenges. I think that if Joan and I would have ended up together, I think there would have been challenges.
Oh yeah.
And I think that I'm sure that she and Chuck are having to
I would-
come up with challenges.
Welcome to the
but,
holiday season.
But that's just
From what I heard from that interview that I
Oh.
heard, they got some place in New York.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
that
like
was-
a
kind
condo
of
or
in
apartment in New York.
between.
that's what
something.
they're working towards.
Some-
my understanding
something-
too.
something
yeah.
like- that's
which
what I
I
heard
was
on the-
I was
Kinda in
completely
between the
unaware
two.
of. I was like, oh well,
Oh,
know.
well. yeah.
Sorry.
I missed a vote on that one.
Yeah.
You're like, I would have done that.
New York City. Yeah.
But it's so it's good. So we had those conversations. People always go why didn't
I
you guys
hope
talk
so.
about that? I said I did.
I
know.
mean,
Yeah. They just don't show
most.
that all.
I mean, the producers don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. They want the drama stuff.
Right,
That's
sure.
not. It's not fun to listen to, but it's reality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when they back to the guys in the house.
Yeah.
Was there guys after just a week super in love with Joan?
Oh, just
she
fell
was,
hard.
The cat's meow, and like thought that she was really their girlfriend.
As
Is there
I
one guy that
as-
might have been?
well, I mean Chuck.
oh,
Right
he
from
was
the
like
beginning.
week one
He
was
was-
like or
he
day
was.
one.
He
oh
was.
yeah, right.
Oh.
Because he had the very first one-on-one date. They went to Disneyland, and
Oh yeah, that was the first.
he
date?
was full.
was, I
he was
guess.
full.
One-on-one?
He was
Oh.
full gas right from the beginning. And
Seen some red flags here. Just
there
If
was-
that was the first date, I don't remember, but that was.
Just
sometimes you
saying.
make astute observations.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, and there were some other guys, and it's easy to get caught up in that. When these guys are kind of gushing over
Yeah.
the prize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Well, yeah,
Jonathan was one of those guys. I thought.
Yeah,
Jonathan.
Mhm.
Oh,
He's the guy at the prom. The guy that didn't go to his
Oh, that
prom.
was-
oh my
I
god!
liked that
I started
episode.
crying at that point too. The
Yeah.
guy didn't get to go to his own
Yeah.
prom.
that
and-
was real sweet.
And it was very. I thought Joan was really good about making the guys feel pretty special.
she did when they were down and
Equally.
yeah.
I will tell you that the characteristics of Joan that I fell in love with was, first of all, she had a heart of gold.
Yes.
She had a unique ability to make everyone feel special. Every guy, when they came back, even if it was a short, one-on-one with her before a rose ceremony or during a
group
a
date.
group date,
Yeah.
they felt like they were the guy. Every single guy was just like, okay, I'm it. I'm it, and
That's a nice trait to have, though. I
It
mean, if I heard
is.
she
And-
had
then
a lot
for
of
the guy
power.
back.
Yeah, a lot of power, yeah.
and that's sort of the heart of gold, her ability to make everybody, including myself, feel
Yeah.
special. Her love of family and her devotion. I mean, those are the things that drew me to her. I mean, obviously, she's a very attractive woman.
She is.
You have to
I was
have
saying that when they first showed her, I'm like, man, she's good looking.
She is.
Where'd they find her?
That's a good
and,
question.
and the answer is yes, she
Nice-
is.
nice
and
I'm
yes,
like,
she
she
is.
is.
No, nice legs. I was like, wow, look at that. Yeah,
Yeah,
good for
we
you,
even
guy.
got to go snorkeling together.
I
Yeah,
know.
so
I
you-
saw
yeah,
that.
he
I saw
saw
that.
her.
Yeah. You keep in shape yourself, guy.
Yes, you do.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
You
you.
look good on camera.
Yeah, thank you.
Ah.
Hopefully off camera too.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
in the real. Well, the camera's 10 pounds. You look 10 pounds lighter, at least for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look skinnier than you
Did
did
you
on TV.
knowing you were going to go on TV? Did you go on like I gotta look good for this,
I gotta
like
get ripped.
regimen?
Well, okay. Here I'm going to give you some inside scoop.
I would.
So about 3 weeks before, I've always been in shape. I've run marathons, triathlons, biking for 20 years
Oh, wow,
over
okay.
Europe.
Did you
know.
prescribe yourself Ozempic?
No.
I'm just joking. I didn't think you did. I just had to throw
But
that
I
out
was
there.
trying to decide whether Ozempic was right for me.
Thought about it for a second.
Yeah. No. So interesting enough, and I'd gotten COVID twice, working in the ER.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'd slowly kind of gotten out of shape. I had some long COVID syndrome, and I gained weight for me. Most people never saw it because
For
I was
you,
always
yeah.
so. But about 3 weeks before, I decided, you know
you
what, I'm
gotta-
going to make a commitment. I mentioned before to physical and nutritional
Yeah.
excellence. So
Mhm.
when I got down there, I brought my protein powders and my concoctions, and I had that every morning. I would work out. They had a little place where we had some dumbbells and things. I'd work out for
Nice.
an hour to sometimes an hour and a half.
I mean,
would get
what
in the-
else are you doing all day?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get in the pool and I swim for 30 minutes
Nice,
to
yeah.
an hour sometimes. Like just back and forth. It was about 22 yards, so it was almost like a lap pool.
Yeah.
And I had all my stuff with me. I had my goggles and hat and everything.
Yeah.
And then I would, so I'd have that stuff in the morning. I was exercising every single day, and in the evening I was just eating really the healthy part
Clean.
of the meal.
What
the
did
high
we feed
protein
you
and
on?
stuff.
It's funny. I
Bachelorette?
have
You
that on
make
my
your
notes.
own.
What?
Most of the guys, there was 3 guys, very good chefs.
There was that one guy. I can't remember.
The
names.
loudmouth guy. What's his name?
Can't remember
Jack.
names.
Jack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike, me and
Yeah.
names are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
But also
guy-
like Mark, he could
one's
cook.
Mark?
Charles
Which one's
made him.
Mark?
He's
Kelsey's dad.
Kelsey's
Oh,
dad,
Kelsey's
the big
dad.
guy.
Yeah, I like
just,
that guy.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Just
Seems like a
gentle,
sweet man.
gentle
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Gentle giant. He's just salt of
guy.
the earth.
Yeah.
And
He's a very nice guy.
so I ended up. If you go back and you look, I lost 27 pounds.
What? Because you were just
While you were
being
there?
healthy. You were just. I mean,
3 weeks before, and the 6 weeks I was there. Yeah, I was just.
I got to
was-
get on this show.
right. We're gonna
I know.
divorce next week.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, I
Nice.
just.
That's awesome, though.
That
right?
is
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
for you.
And
You
I
look
just-
great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you can almost going to see it in my face. It
I
kinda
know. I'm
is
like
a little more
27
full.
pounds.
I know
Yeah.
people said you didn't have that to lose,
I'm
and
gonna look back at it now.
But-
Well, maybe that's why you look thinner to me, from the show.
Camera, But
yeah,
The
yeah.
camera. I get it.
Anyway, but
That's cool.
so it was it's one of those positive things,
So
that-
what do
Yeah.
they do? Do they ask kind of what you want to eat?
and
or
they like
just
Yes.
grocery
ask
shop
the
for
house?
you. Oh, okay.
yes, they have a piece of paper. You write down what
Oh,
you
that's
want.
nice. And they go to
They
the
get
store.
you whatever you want.
Salad,
Oh, nice.
And then
vegetables, whatever.
some of the producers or the handlers, they would make food for us.
Oh, that's
They,
nice.
all of a sudden they just start. One of them would just
Like,
start
"Ah, we're
making
just gonna make this,"
breakfast
yeah.
and bacon and eggs and
Like,
things
thank
like
you.
that.
Yeah.
But there's always stuff to eat.
I mean, it's all guys. Someone's always cooking or doing something.
And I
That's
heard
cool.
you don't eat the food on the dates. I've heard that.
No,
Yeah.
never.
Okay.
No, you just look at it.
You see, I don't like that.
He would want to eat it.
I'd be like, I got to eat that. I would have no
I mean,
problem.
but how
eating
long
on
has it been
camera.
sitting there?
I don't know if you knew this, but Jesse Palmer,
He ate
was
on a date.
he was known for eating the whole time, and he
and
was
they,
saying
like producers were
that's-
pissed.
They finally nixed the eating.
I'm just
because
thinking,
of
how
him.
long is it sitting there?
He was a football player. He's hungry, man.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Is he a big guy? Seems like a big guy.
He looks like a professional football
Athlete still.
player.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
quarterback.
mean,
He
but
played
just
for the Giants. Yeah, Giants.
yeah,
Pretty sure.
and very. I think was he played for Florida. I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
I think Florida. He was a very good college player.
Oh, very
yeah,
good.
And then he came
he's,
highly, and he
yeah,
lasted a little bit in the NFL.
and you can
but
see it. I mean, he just has that big
That look.
hand,
Oh.
strong, but
yeah,
a really, really great guy.
I'm sure if you threw a football, it would come pretty hard.
I would
If,
think
you,
so.
if you threw that at you,
Yeah,
it'd become
yeah.
Yes.
really hard. But
Yeah.
I was always wondering about the food in the house.
I always wondered
What
too.
you know, Charles, when he, I don't know why I remember this just now, but Charles, when he brought back those facial masks for everybody, do you remember that?
No.
Oh no, that was Pascal.
Oh yeah, I'm like Charles.
Okay, yeah, Pascal. So he brought these facial masks to everybody. Did he
For
actually,
everybody, it was three of us. And
just three of you? What?
and we were in the
only three
the
of us.
Rose Room.
Yeah, I remember
Oh.
that. But did he
And-
go out to the store, or they sent somebody for that?
No, they just set that all up.
Okay,
and
yeah,
and
okay.
it
That's
was
what I
really a funny experience because he put them on that, and then he had us basically almost like meditate. And he says he'd never done any of this, but I'm telling you, I was hypnotized.
Oh.
I was at the end of it. I'd been sitting on that couch for almost an hour, hands out, going, and he had us going, Joan.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That was
Right,
funny.
and I got so into it that I'm
Like,
telling you,
this
I was
is
in
great,
an altered
Like a
state for a while.
right.
Oh.
That
They
is
had
funny.
he had to
They're like, yeah, you're right.
eventually he had to wake me up because everybody else had already left, and 30 minutes
Oh,
later
like,
I'm
I'm
still
in the
sitting
zone,
there.
man.
right.
I'm still
You needed it.
zoning
You
out with
needed it.
Joan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. How did you like that guy, Pascal?
Pascal is Pascal.
Okay.
He's I mean, he comes off full of himself, and he comes off
Right.
vibrant. Then as the show went on, you kind of started liking him better. At first, you didn't really like him actually
I
as a
didn't.
viewer, but
I
you know,
didn't.
And
Not as a
I have to say the same. I mean, he is Pascal.
Yeah.
Right. I'm Pascal. I'm into fashion and
Right.
fast cars, and
Did you
I love
borrow
women.
Hermes belts?
And
No, just
pardon me.
so did you borrow one of his Hermes belts?
I
I don't
didn't-
know what that is.
I know
guys,
you
so
don't.
Yeah, but let me tell you. Yeah, and
He,
He's
he-
all
he's
no.
very.
But you know-
she knew all his clothes he
I
was wearing.
did.
They're very stylish.
yeah,
I had
very,
no clue.
very much so.
But for a guy that's kind of weird.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So he was Pascal, but I can tell you as I watched the show, where I really started to gain some respect for him was his hometown. His son. I wanted to say, Pascal, your son just bailed you out.
Yes,
You
he
went
did.
from being the villain to looking like a really good guy because his son just gushed over his father, and
did.
Yeah,
that really meant.
And from that point on, he was so honest.
Was
Yes.
he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which you then appreciated the
Yeah.
like honesty. Okay.
Yeah. So what I say is, that, I mean, really, he's Pascal. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, he's still Pascal.
Just,
Right.
But
just
you know what? He
bigger than life.
He is who he is.
is, yeah.
And he,
Owns it.
he's not pulling any punches. You
Yeah.
know. And so you either, I learned to really enjoy Pascal.
Yeah.
And say, okay, he is Pascal, but that's and Pascal. I mean, I'm telling you, when I first met him,
Like Pepe Le Pew.
I thought he was
accent.
faking the accent for
Ooh.
the first 2 hours.
Yeah. You're like,
You're
come
like,
on,
how
buddy.
can you talk like that? Yeah.
Well, he was from Chicago, and I kept
Like,
waiting because and Pascal, and I want to go back to my people.
My my children.
My children.
I love when he said that. My children.
But he and I kept waiting for him the first night to all of a
drop
sudden
it,
go
yeah.
and go, yo,
Got it.
here I
Yeah.
am from Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm Pascal.
Chicago,
you
yeah.
know, But no, it was a real deal.
That's
so,
great,
yeah,
man.
So he is definitely a character.
Yeah.
And he is who he is, and he
Well, that was one thing
people
about
either love him or they.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody there was who they are. I don't think anybody was playing for the cameras at all. I
Well, I
didn't
think-
sense it at
right.
least. Did you see anybody playing for the cameras?
No,
They were
no,
just who they were, and it was like
Yeah.
a good brotherhood, and
very
Is
much
there-
I enjoyed it.
Besides brother, was there anyone you do not have to name names that maybe what you did not get along with or not your favorite? Because I mean, with 18 guys,
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be someone that you're not your cup of tea.
Yeah, and I would say the answer is yes.
I mean, I think that's normal.
You put that many people together,
Yeah.
and there's a couple that
Personalities aren't going to mesh.
I didn't particularly care for them, and they didn't particularly care for me. I would suspect, But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what
Yeah.
as I walked away from this whole thing is that even some of the people maybe you had a little bit of and
Like,
we're talking
yeah.
about very mild rubbing. We're not
Yes,
talking
yes.
about like I can't stand the person. There was none of that. I mean.
Yeah, like next day you wake up, you're okay.
just like,
Exactly,
"Ah, you irritate me."
and now when I was did the live and some of those guys were there, I was like, you know what,
Not
I
that
love you
bad.
guys for
Yeah.
we have an experience that nobody else knows, just us.
Yeah.
And there is a bond between us forever when
Oh,
it comes to that stuff.
yes.
Yeah, that was
That
awesome.
At the time, you did not. I didn't realize.
Right.
That
If
makes
I couldn't
sense.
stand anybody, I would just drink a lot of this.
Oh yes.
Honey, guess what time it is?
Happy hour?
Yep, I made your favorite Juicy Tits Vodka cocktail.
Fantastic. Thanks, babe. Love you.
And I love you. And your Juicy Tits.
Go to juicytitsvodka.com to get your own bottle of Juicy Tits, where life is the party.
That's one of our sponsors. It's called Juicy Tits
So you've
Vodka.
been looking maybe at this whole time.
But the thick,
I'll take one.
The
I
catch,
right.
yeah, you totally can. I'll give you one on the way out. They give 10% of their money back to breast cancer.
Oh,
It's
very
a young
nice.
entrepreneurial girl who started this company in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Isn't she New Jersey?
And she's from New Jersey,
Yeah.
but Fort Lauderdale, and then we had met her in Key West, and she ended up
did.
sponsoring our podcast, and she's all over the place. But we're gonna have her on. We're supposed to go to Key West and do one, but great
Time
girl.
edge
Like,
isn't working.
She started in college. She has this great company going now, and she just gives back,
Yeah.
and it's cool.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's been really good. But yeah, I will give you a bottle of this before we leave.
Okay.
You
I'll take it.
enjoy. At least you can put it on your mantle or something.
Put on your who puts it on
Or
a
you can
mantle?
drink it or put it in your bar or
It's not
something.
in college.
Well, Guy, it's been great.
Oh, you're
do,
wrapping
do,
up?
Do you have any more questions?
I don't know. I feel like I could always have
we're
questions.
We're wearing you out here.
We might be wearing
Yeah,
them out.
no, I'm good. Bring,
He's like,
bring
keep
'em on.
going.
Do you have any more questions about the show, Keeks, while we're doing
Oh
it?
my goodness! Since I don't
Before
prepare,
I
they
go
come
in-
to me.
Sure, you think about it because I'm going to go in
Go into what?
to these guys.
Oh,
You sound so good.
With this nasally old voice,
Yes, but it's so clean.
that's why we use Fibonacci Sound Studio, located in Reno, Nevada, led by an Emmy-nominated audio producer.
Fibonacci specializes in voiceovers and voice recordings for games, television, and film production.
So you're saying, if Fibonacci can make my nasally voice sound this good,
Then anybody else's will sound like music to your ears.
for more information or to book an audio session, go to FibonacciSoundStudio.com.
Or call 775-357-8580.
That was us too.
I
Okay.
think you figured that out.
Okay, I do have one more
Oh, it
question.
came to
I
you.
just have one more question I was going to ask.
Sure.
You know when all you old guys went and played the kickball game?
Oh my God!
That was freaking hilarious. And when's the
felt
last time you
bad.
played kickball? The second grade, third grade?
Right.
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 That was great. Was it a real game or was it like fake?
No, it was a real game.
And I feel like,
Like,
you,
real
as
competitive
guys,
game.
men, you
Real
kind of got
competitive
competitive.
game.
Yeah.
And actually, for me, I was really disappointed because I pretty much thought I was going to score every time I got up. I
Right.
said I can run
I
circles.
got this.
Like I will kick
I'm
the ball
athletic.
over their heads.
I've been working
and
out
I'm
every
gone.
day.
And I can run circles around these guys.
Yeah, right.
That's why. And so, but all good, best plans
Right.
come to an end. And in the warm-ups, I pulled my right
Shit.
hamstring.
Oh,
And I
Is
was
it
like,
warm-ups?
in the warm-ups,
Yeah.
right? And then we get to the game, and they put me in first, and I could
You're like,
barely even kick the
hobble,
ball.
yeah.
Just
right?
dying.
So I decided to bunt the ball down the left third base line.
Yeah.
And I'm running to first place, and I'm telling you, 90 feet's never seemed so far in my
Right.
life. And right beforehand, Jordan, who was the pitcher, he hits me out. I
Oh.
said, how's that even possible? But right before then,
Oh, in kickball, you can
Yeah,
hit the
you can
person.
hit the
you
person.
throw it. He threw the ball.
Hit your
he-
back or something.
It just hit me, grazed me, from
Yeah.
90 feet away.
You're
It was perfect. And I was out. But during that run down there, I pulled my left hamstring.
no.
So both hamstrings, I could barely even move.
Oh, you
they had
guys
to,
are all
they
a
had to
mess.
move me
Oh,
from
no.
third base to first base because I could not even bend over to pick up the ball. But I wasn't the only. I'd say
Oh yeah.
more than half the guys were
Who's the guy
like,
that fell and ate shit diving into third?
Somebody
"Oh
did,
yeah,
What is
yeah." That was
Dan or
Greg. Greg went right in. He was like, and Captain
these
Kim
guys doing?
and
Oh.
Captain Kim separated his shoulder.
Oh shit.
Chuck pulled his hamstring.
Oh, my
Mark
God.
pulled his
I
quad.
hope they gave you guys a break. after
Jordan pulled. I mean, our
Oh.
legs were black and blue 3 days later.
that. I believe that.
Yeah,
Jeez.
And
So it was competitive.
Did Charles really kick the ball for the win or whatever? Or was
he
that a
did.
fake?
Oh, that was
he
real.
did. He actually did.
I got the most unassuming guy that
Right.
he doesn't know how to play kickball.
He just
said
said
he didn't
just
know how to play
down here, but it was
Oh,
yeah,
that's great,
Yeah,
yeah.
but he was a great guy.
I had a huge
Charles.
smile on my face with that
That
because
was
I
a
was just
fun- that was a
cracking up.
fun
I can see
episode.
just
Yeah.
everybody because in people that even softball or whatever. If you play softball too long, you end up pulling hamstrings all the
Oh,
time,
yeah.
or rip your Achilles or
Yeah.
whatever, that kind of thing. So I was like, "Oh, these guys are going to get beat up."
Oh,
and
yeah.
you
Yep.
did.
And we did.
At least they didn't have you playing football or boxing or something.
I thought we were going to be playing football because
because sometimes a wrestle and
Like a
stuff.
flag
because
football,
the
yeah.
coaches were Eric Dickerson and Andre Reed, so
You're like
NFL football players Hall of Famers.
That
And
was
so
cool. Eric Dickerson.
so cool. He was my coach.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Eric Dickerson. That was great.
He looked like he could probably still run, for 200 yards.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. He's one of those guys that run and just smooth. He was on the Rams and the Colts.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great. That's cool.
Yeah. And
Wow.
You had a question or?
I do now.
Okay.
See, I'll think of random stuff as
Well,
a girl.
this is
where
your
mine
last
goes.
random
My
one.
last one? How do you pack going into this 6-week journey?
Yeah.
Do they give you like a packing list?
They do send you an idea of what you need. Now, they tell you need to be prepared for being there for 6 weeks.
Right.
I was not prepared. 3 weeks.
Were you like, holy shit? How do I bring stuff for 6 weeks?
I have a hard
Well-
time bringing stuff for 1 week.
Yes. And so I went out. I bought extra large bags.
Well, and you need like nice clothes,
Well,
like suits and stuff.
I was actually down in Dallas. I grew up in Arlington, so I was down there visiting a friend. I went to a very nice men's boutique clothing store, and a day and a half later, I came out with an entire wardrobe.
Okay, that's great.
I didn't say you look good.
Yeah, you did.
I said, you know what? I said, I'm going to be
Give
on
me
national
everything.
TV. I said,
I wanna
I
look
want to make
good.
sure I don't want
Right.
to frumpy.
You want your
You
suits
know?
How
to
many
fit
like
nice.
Yeah.
suits did
Yeah.
you pack?
I had, ultimately, I had about 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end, they don't
Oh
dress
yeah,
you.
at some point you get a
You know-
stylist and get dressed.
Well, the only time is if you look at the live, the suit I was wearing that last
Mm-hmm.
night, I had already had another suit made for the finale.
Yeah, because you want to look all perfect.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Be like,
then,
this is what you've
And
been
you
set
lost
on,
20
Joan.
pounds.
And
Yeah.
I did. I had
Yeah.
to make sure it fit.
Right.
But before when I was still in LA and potentially, proposing to Joan,
Right.
I went to a stylist and he fitted me and we came up with a suit.
Nice.
And he actually contacted me like 2 days before and said, "Hey, I still have your suit. Do you want it?" He brought it, and I'm in the dressing room before I'm going to go on. I had mine, and he said he brought his. I put it on, and it fit like a glove.
It's
And
like,
I said,
I'll take
and
this
I go, let's
There's
go
nothing
with this.
better
With
than a
this one,
perfectly
yeah.
tailored
It
suit,
was
right?
it was just
Yeah.
like it was like magic. I said, this is and it was a great color.
Yeah.
and,
So the
So-
show never provides you
No,
with anything.
they take care of your expenses, right?
Do they? I've heard that if they're like certain, like I don't know if you're. I think that one like Bachelor they
Or if you're
actually
the
came up to
lead,
Tahoe
like
or
Joan,
something.
they
They all
did
had
everything
like
for her.
Joan
well,
had,
yes,
she
yeah.
had every
and every
Stylist,
like
yes.
girl randomly had hiking boots. So they'll I guess like if they're doing something, they can send producers out to go get it if you want it.
Yeah, pretty much I had everything.
Okay, but I've heard that if you're like,
Oh,
here's
yes.
my credit card, go buy me some shoes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and they were really good about things that you needed and things like that.
Could you order off Amazon while you were there?
No,
Dang it!
I know.
I'm thinking of all these random
That's a
questions.
weird question.
I would have, but they wouldn't have known where
See?
to send it.
Oh,
Life with Eric podcast is brought to you by Petrilla Concrete Construction and Michael Weems Collection in Palm Springs on
Springs.
Palm Canyon Drive. Keeks, what's his website?
michaelweems.com. Get your holiday ornaments and coasters.
This guy in Palm Springs,
Springs.
and he's an art guy.
He's an artist.
He's an artist, and he
An
sells
art
these
guy.
funny I don't know.
Or an artist.
He has all these gag gifts and whatnot. so-
Inappropriate things.
yeah, really funny though. He's on
He's a hoot.
Palm Desert, Palm
Okay.
Canyon
On
Drive.
Canyon, yes.
Can I
Yes.
have one last final comment?
What's that?
May I do a last
You
final
sure
comment?
can.
sure can.
Yeah,
One- yeah, go ahead.
You're the guest.
Okay. So one of the things I talk about is this transformational journey, and people have asked me, what does that mean? And I'm not going to go into detail of each one, but I different things happened to me, and I mentioned a couple of them before. Was that the first thing is I learned to love myself again. Second is I learned that I can love again.
Mm-hmm.
I've developed an even better relationship with my kids.
That's awesome.
I've gotten happier than I've been in years,
Hey, now.
and my faith has grown stronger.
Look at you.
Oh. Wow.
This has been a great journey for you.
So I just, that. So when they, like when people ask me that,
Are you
those
saying
it
this?
worth
Are
it?
you saying this is because of the show, or is this because you said to do this and you were open to the show?
I think it was a culmination of multiple things that happened over the last 10 months. The show was a culmination of these things that allowed me to take it to that whole next level.
Right.
Mhm.
Each one of those things.
Yeah.
Those things were already happening,
Right.
but the show just allowed me to take it one
To
step
do, yeah.
further. Yeah.
Well, in all
That's
honesty, if
awesome.
you think about it, because you kind of probably spend a lot of alone time over the 6 weeks?
Lots of
Well,
time.
So it's like you
he journaled
Right.
for
How
how many
often
pages?
does
Yeah.
anybody get that much time in a day, in a week, to sit and like just think about your life, your family, your everything? So it's like you're sitting with yourself a lot, and
Yeah.
you could choose to go positive or negative with it.
Yeah, and with the journaling, I mean, on the big days, like the hometowns and the one-on-one dates, I would write 20 pages.
Because that's got to be a lot of emotions and thoughts, and
Yeah, and just going over all the
Yeah.
details. And
Are you going to write a book?
It's
Or a
pretty funny.
memoir?
One of the
Well, I mean-
one of the
I mean,
producers
do you-
did say, because they said we've never seen anybody journal as much as you have.
Oh.
Because I went through an entire journal and started a second one,
Wow.
and
Did you bring two, or you had to go get one?
I had to get one. They went out and found one for me. I wanted one that matched mine, so
You're like, "Can
they
you find this
specifically.
one?"
I had to go out and
See,
get
that's
the
what the
moleskin,
producers do.
and they found it for me. It's the exact same color and same style and everything, because I wanted them to match.
Have you
I
gone
would
back
too.
and read it at all?
I
Ooh.
read a little bit before the live,
Oh, to refresh.
but I haven't gone through the whole thing. I just wanted everything to kind of just come to me. I didn't want to
Yeah.
have preconceived.
Is there any tear droplet marks on the pages and smudged ink at all?
Maybe.
oh,
I would
Maybe.
say a few.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
good.
That's a good way to end this podcast. I like that.
it was been a great journey for you.
Yeah.
Wonderful
many
journey.
ways, yeah.
So many ways.
Yeah. Well, this has
Yeah.
been a pleasure. It
Yeah,
feels
I
like I
really
really
enjoyed
feels
it.
like I really know you. You know, we didn't really talk any much about your personal life, but
Yeah.
maybe you'll come on again sometime. That'd be
Okay.
What are you doing next week?
yeah.
Just
That'd be,
for me.
yeah. Next
Yeah.
time we'll get you on there. But
Okay.
that's great.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, we're not quite done yet. Subscribe
We're
or
back
follow
up
us on
yet.
wherever you get your podcast, or go to our website at lifewitheric.com.
And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and a closer look into my life with Eric. To all of our listeners out there, remember, it's always happy hour here.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Oh, we didn't do a cheers to
I
God. You
know.
didn't do your
Love you,
bell.
baby.
Love you.
Thanks, Guy. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being our guest.